already know what time it is. It's time for the Dr. Tongie Show.
Come here, I want to show you something.
I'ma shine now, cause you project me. Paid for my sins, so now I'm dead free. No weapon against me can prosper, it must please your grace, it must be. You're my Jehovah, Jireh, Nisi. Don't need no one else, cause you complete me. Can't speak to
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. I messed that one up. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. Tongie Show, and I'm your girl, Dr. Tongie, and I'm just not paying attention. How about that? We're broadcasting live from the beautiful country of St. Lucia, located right here in the Caribbean. And when I tell you that we are truly enjoying this amazing hot weather, we are. Yes, we are. I'm really grateful for everyone that tuned in. Thank you again for your support. The show really is predicated and founded for you, and your tuning in really does make the difference. So whether you're watching by Facebook Live or the website, www.drtongie show, or YouTube Live, we are truly grateful to have you here. I do not take it lightly nor for granted that out of all the shows that you could be watching or listening to, you decided, you know what, we'll give this lady 30 minutes of my time, and that's all I need. Now, of course, I am grateful for the man that comes and shares in his knowledge, and you guys know him as someone who spins the ones and twos, but I know him as my gentle giant. How you doing, man?
Well, let me say good day.
I know, right? Good
Yes,
day.
good day to you. Thank you very much for having me here once again.
Yeah.
I almost thought I had to start the show for you today because you almost missed it, right? You
Yeah, I
almost missed
did.
it.
Yeah, I did.
But I had to start it off. But then hey, you're always doing a wonderful job. So it doesn't matter if you miss the cue by a little.
Yeah.
We'll fix everything.
Oh, for sure, man.
But
Absolutely.
it's good to be here despite
Thank you.
today's the weather, man. You will see us sweating today. I guarantee
I
you that.
know.
But hey, that's just one of the things we have to do.
Living
right?
in the tropics,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How about that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, at any rate, if you see me sweat, just know that I'm
Everybody should understand the situation. Right?
very much so.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for that. Listen, if you're asking, what is this show about? The show is a kingdom principled show. It's about a king who is the king, who, of course, the one I'm talking about is him. It's devised to literally move you from where you are to where you need to be. But it's about a king who has an invisible government, and that government is real, real. It is. And he impacts that government with his morality, his lifestyles, his principles. And when you think about a principle, I want you to think about the original intent of God's word. One thing I've learned about his word, right? We don't add to it, nor do we take away from it. It is what it is. The show is predicated really to assist you in your daily life, to help you with decisions that you have to make, and to kind of give you a little behind the scenes of what it means to seriously show up every day, day after day. Even when it looks like, oh my God, is anybody listening? Or am I really doing what you called me to do? So it's a show that is fostered with community in mind. The beautiful thing about the principle that we use here is called the Haas, which is honesty, openness, and sincerity. Again, opinions do not matter when it relates to God's kingdom. It really does not. And it's a show that I get to do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here. If you're listening by way of a podcast, feel free to, for those who did not know, check us out on Google Podcast and Apple Podcast and Amazon Music and Spotify, our iHeartRadio, and just a plethora of wonderful platforms to get the message across, to motivate you, to inspire you, to hold you accountable for what it is that you're supposed to be doing with your time here. All right? You literally can have heaven on earth, and I am a living witness to that. I really believe you can have heaven right here on earth.
And by the way, I just need to ask you a question
For sure.
because, well, it's nothing difficult. Someone asked me whether they can via the Facebook Live or
Mhm.
can they interact
Oh,
with us while we're on.
absolutely. Yeah, because that's really, really important, right?
Mhm.
You know, you when you're developing content and you're thinking, okay, this is the technical and strategic way of doing things, but if you're not bringing value to the person or persons that you're serving by interacting or listening to what they're saying, then you are just talking.
Mhm.
And that's something that I did not want the show to be about. So your participation is very much necessary, all right, for us to continue. And we feed off one another.
Okay.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone wanted to know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I felt like I had to ask her. Then I was like, should I? Am I supposed to ask her before the show? Maybe I can
yeah.
ask her.
You just ask Gentle Giant whenever you want to. How about that? I I wanted to definitely send a shout out to everyone behind the scenes. You don't
Mhm.
see what's really going on with the
Mhm.
lights and the camera and the action, and they're mixing things on boards and they're making us sound good and look good. So I do not want to take for granted those people that are
Yes.
helping us. I could literally list everyone, but I'm like, you know what? You're here for that
You
message,
know,
right?
it's so crazy what happens. You know, you come, you view, you see what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on,
yeah.
but you never know behind the scenes. There are
Come
some
on,
people
man.
going, you know, okay,
Yep,
hands,
yep.
hand signals.
But it's like the gentleman that started. Shout out to Sea Capture Inspire.
The hand
And I'm
signals.
looking.
Can they say, Marlon, you're off under them. I'm frantically trying to
Yeah,
wipe
yeah,
my
yeah,
face
yeah,
before I get
yeah,
back on. You know, it's so crazy what happens.
yeah. So, but it's realizing that you don't literally have to know and do everything.
Mhm.
That God will send people to help you
That's right.
along your way. And when you have those special people in your life, you do not want to take them for granted or make them feel like you're taking them for granted. So I'm grateful. I really, really am. I want to talk this afternoon or this evening or this night or whenever you're listening about a kingdom principle that literally came just not too long ago to ask me, are you doing it too? So I asked the question right before the show, are you committed? Are you willing to stay committed? Are you willing, right, to stay committed? So the other day, right, I had an opportunity to talk with a gentleman, and I love him dearly, who said to me that, you know, he's been wildly successful as an entrepreneur. And he realized that this amazing time in his life would not have been possible had he began to harp on the difficulties or the challenges or the risks that were involved. And he kept saying, I had to believe beyond the test. I had to believe beyond the test. And I asked, well, wow, you know, what were some of those tests like? And he was mentioning that they were cataclysmic and some that really questioned not only his faith, but was God or did God put him in the trajectory of what he was doing, or was it just him wanting to do a good thing? So I'm listening to him and I'm thinking, man, what ingenuity, what going inside of yourself to really ask those hard questions. Are you willing to stay committed? And I believe that to any degree of success that you are going to undertake, it really does calls for a committed lifestyle. It calls for you to say, you know what, no matter what happens, no matter what it looks like, I am going to stay the course. And so tonight, if you are facing circumstances that are greater than what you believe the reward to be of staying committed, then this show is really it's for you, because should you be willing to stay committed, there are some things and some benefits that you're going to enjoy. Sometimes it's just getting out of your own way. So life was designed with success. It is designed for you to be as wildly successful as you honestly want to be. And built into life is success, but failure is also built in as well. See, when you finally make up your mind that this is the day that your destiny changes, immediately you begin to align your consciousness and your subconscious with believing and receiving what is written about you in our Constitution. So when I refer to Constitution on this show, I'm referring to the Bible, all right? That's our Constitution as believers. See, there are some promises that are written specifically for you and for me and for anyone who dare to believe. And I'm reminded of Jeremiah 29:11, and I'll paraphrase, right? That he being the source, he knows the plans that he has for you. He knows that those plans are to prosper you, that those plans will not harm you, that they're plans to give you a hope and a future. See, once you begin to embrace life, that no matter what I'm seeing, that I'm going to live beyond what I see, you begin to operate in what is likened to living the abundant life. And what I love about having a relationship, and this comes to those for those who literally are in a relationship with the Almighty, is that in order for me, in order for you to be who you've been called to be, that you must first believe that He is. Selah. See, it's something so spectacular about living a life that can literally be blessed by God and then bless yourself and then bless others in the interim. I remember growing up in Mississippi, and if you can hear that southern that drawl, that's from my Mississippi upbringing. And I remember seeing my mom, who was a single mom, and it was just the two of us, my sister and I, and my mother. So I can literally still see the dynamics of what her life was offering. See, for so long, my mom did the absolute best that she could possibly do for my sister and I. And as a child, you don't really realize the tears that are being shed, nor the disposition she had to take in order to get up every single day. This lady worked 3 jobs, seriously, 3 jobs at one time. And for 2 little girls that solely depended on her, that was everything. I didn't really realize what she was going through until many years later. See, when you commit your time, your talent, your skill set, your will to those things that can positively influence how your life will be lived, you start to block out the noise of any of the naysayers, and they got to come. See, those who try to remind you of where you're from, okay, and even go as far as saying, but that's never been done in your family. You know, you need those people. You really, really do. I liken them to people that keep me on my knees. And once you begin to stay committed to what you believe to be God's direction for your life, now herein lies the very important aspect of living. See, you have no idea when you first began to stay committed, right, to what you're doing. You don't know the impact that your obedience has on those who are looking at what you said you're going to do. You literally begin to die to old habits and old ways of thinking and speaking, and then you begin to commit to learning exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing. And the people that are assigned to your life, you may never know the degree of which they're going to benefit from you, but they do. Now, we all know that problems will arise in life. We know that. And what you think of problems are really the catalyst that will grow your faith, to cause you to steal away, as my grandmama would say. And that's that time that it's just you and God. And you're asking Him, Lord, are you sure you called me for what I am doing? Or is this me? And then you begin to get the wisdom in what you're doing so that you can actively apply that wisdom to your life and deploy yourself into where you're supposed to be. And then you reassure, He reassures you that you were really created for greatness. It is easy, and I really do mean this, it is so very easy to give up on what you're doing. And that's real talk. See, things get hard. They don't necessarily pan out the way you thought they would. And, when you're looking at your circumstances and you got more circumstance than you do cash, and you're wondering, oh, dear God, are you sure you want me to do this? You're not throwing in the towel. You're not giving up. It's a stark reminder of just who you are in Him. So imagine, if you will, when you finally decide to believe that you were created with the characteristics of the King, to operate with His authority and His power, and that whatever you are committed to do, especially those things that bring Him glory, that you will begin to see a dramatic shift in your abilities to live a life that's destined for greatness. See, your staying committed has some benefits. And I've got 3 keys that I want you to consider as you are preparing or continuing to do what it is that you were called to do, that you were created to do. Key number 1, you must believe without a shadow of a doubt that you truly do matter. That you truly do matter. See, the value you bring to this world, to the body of Christ, to those who are in your community and in your home, it gives credence to God's purpose for your life and for theirs. See, trapped within you is untapped potential that just happens to be lying dormant. It's the truth. Key number 2, your staying committed sets you up for miracles, signs, and wonders. And that's real talk. When you operate with the perspective of come what may, I'm going to govern my life with the input from my Father. You do not have time to entertain anyone or even the what ifs that come into your purview. You merely walk in knowing what is so eloquently written in Philippians 2 and 1 and 6, being confident in this. I get excited. That he who began a good work, he will perfect it until the day of Christ. And the third key that I really want you to consider as you are being committed to what it is that you're supposed to be doing, your staying committed encourages, it blesses, it helps, it rescues, and causes others to live victorious. And I'm a living witness of this. See, I remember the struggles of being a young mother and countless of times when school was getting ready to start and I'm shaking my head and scratching my head and saying, but I don't have the money, Lord God. I don't have it for the books. I don't have it for the pencils and the pens. And that was some of the most challenging times in my life. But what I had to constantly remind myself is that he who began a good work, he will not leave me. See, if I had given up, not only would I have given up on those 3 babies that really depended on mama to make it happen, right? But I would have been giving up on myself and for those who are connected to me. See, people will watch you. They will watch what you say, and I'm not saying they'll listen to what you're saying. They're going to be watching what you say. They will watch how you handle the situation, because one of the things, again, that was happening in my life when I literally at 24 years old started my first business, and I'm sure everybody thought I was crazy, quitting my job and going full throttle in this thing. The struggles were real, honey. At that particular time in my life, I think our rent for the building our office was maybe $250. And even $250 sounded like $1,000. It sounded like $10,000. And I'm wondering, oh my God, now what? But when I remembered that once you put your hands to the plow, and I'm telling my roots here, that you don't have time to give up. that you don't have time to entertain anything other than I am going to finish what I started. I am committed to doing this thing no matter what. And I've taught my children over the years, and even my grandchildren now, that when you're doing something for God, it really does have to be tested for authenticity to see if you understand and you know the gravity of what is before you. But once you commit, will it be easy? Oh my God. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, don't worry about it, man. You ain't going to have no problems. Just pray about it and get going. No, man. There'll be days when you do question. But at the end of the day, man, you think about it. The reward really is greater than the struggle. The reward of having people come and say, wow, you don't know me, but I watched you how you handled that situation, and thank you so very much. Or I listened to what you were saying, and you know what you're doing is really a blessing to me. That's showcasing God's glory. All right. So the question I'll ask again: are you willing to stay committed? Know that you can answer that. All right, man.
I
You know
can
where
answer
I'm
that
going.
question.
You know where I'm going.
You know, are you asking me that question, or are you going to
You
ask
know
me a
what? Just
question?
flow with it.
All
Just
right,
flow
all
with
right,
it.
all right. So while we're talking about commitment, and I'm thinking back, I'm thinking about my mom and her commitment to the course, because
Wow.
she had four of us,
Okay.
and she raised us up in grocery, and
Okay.
it wasn't easy.
Oh, I can only
I
imagine.
didn't know. I mean, I was young,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
running all over the place, not knowing. But
Yeah.
I would listen to her tell me about, back in the day when she would be called at any particular time to work, and
Come on.
she had like four of us at home,
Yeah.
and it was hard. We didn't have an easy life. It was very
Wow.
difficult.
You've never shared that with me before.
No, no, no. But I thought about it, as we were talking,
Yeah.
and as you were talking, and I'm thinking, and that's what it is. I mean, when my mom spoke to me about these things, she never probably used the word commitment,
Okay.
or saying that she was committed
For sure.
to this.
For sure.
But when you look back,
You
you
look
have to
back.
understand, because
Absolutely.
she heading to work at all these weird hours, working really early in the morning, and having to leave her children at home.
Oh my
It
God.
has to take some sort of
Come
commitment,
on, man.
and
Come on.
she would always say, there are times in life where she just feel like, I don't have to do this. I'm not going to do this. But I guess, like you just said, she said, she always
Yeah.
look up to God, and I guess her commitment
Yeah.
stands with God. So she says,
Come on, man.
I'm going to do this, and I have to do this.
Yeah.
And she did. Eventually, got us out from where we were,
For
and
sure.
took us to where we are.
Wow.
And then, we're all trying on our own. We're all trying our thing. But yeah, so I understand that level of commitment.
Come
Like I
on.
said, you may not necessarily use the
Yep.
words,
Yep.
but you can definitely tell for the action.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to your mom,
Oh,
man.
yes.
Thank you, Mama, for doing such an amazing job.
And she's still committed to some other stuff right now.
Really?
At her age, she's still
Yeah.
doing some stuff
Uh-huh.
that I believe she should not be doing. But hey, who am I, right?
Right.
Because that's all part of her commitment. And
Wow.
she's gonna do it, despite maybe sometimes the pressure.
Absolutely.
But she
Absolutely.
really goes for it and goes at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So you know what I'm going to ask you, man. Are you willing to stay committed?
That's I mean, that's a tough one, because I would like to stay committed. But after
Yeah.
what I just told you, you have to realize what others have gone through,
Yeah.
and then you'll be like, but who am I not to stay committed to give my commitment to such and such? So
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm
Yeah.
willing to stay committed.
But you are, though.
Yes.
Because I had the opportunity to watch you for almost 2 years, right at 2 years, and your level of commitment is unbelievable. It's undeniable that
Yeah, sometime-
you honestly love what you're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then for you to be able to be on one station, and then you can run and do another station, and then you could run and do the news, and then the weather. Come on, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
I guess it does take a lot of commitment. Then again,
Yeah,
when you really
think.
think about it, but sometimes in your head you're like, oh man,
Yeah,
this, that, and
yeah,
the other. But
absolutely.
but for me, part of the reason for me doing some of these things
Yeah,
is whenever I'm involved with something, and because sometimes we sit down and we
yeah,
talk about the show, and I tell you, hey,
yeah,
we could do this or we could do that.
yeah.
I mean, it's your show, but sometimes I throw things in.
And you should, rightfully
Yes,
so.
yeah, and so this is it for me. I love to see things flow real smooth.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get asked to do some things that I probably would not want to do at the moment, but
Yeah.
then I sit down, I think about it, and I'm like, but
Wow.
yeah, if nobody does it, it's gonna be different. So yeah, so that's
I
what
love
it is.
you. Your level of commitment, dude. In the house we've got Max Tusi. Hi, Max. When I tell you this soul is an amazing soul, thank you so very much for all that you've done, not just for other countless shows that you produce, but what you're doing, even in your own space. And I am truly, truly grateful to have you here. People like Deborah Gewen. Hey, Deborah, thank you so very much for showing up. I am literally grateful that you are here as well. And if you'd like to make a contribution, we are, okay, I'm messing up here, but we literally are engaging. We're engaging this evening. Okay, I am truly messing up. All right, I know somebody's gonna scream at me when I get off camera, but it's okay. So if you want to make a contribution to the show and let us know that you're watching and where you're watching from, then by all means, please feel free to do that. It is it is an awesome thing, man, to be able to motivate, prayerfully inspire someone to literally do what it is that they believe that they were destined to do, that they were created to do. And I think I was talking with someone earlier today. I had a filming a shoot done, and I said to the gentleman, when you leave your country, because he had left his country and he is a transplant here in our beautiful, amazing country. And what he thought he would be doing, he's not doing it,
Mhm.
right? He's committed to what he's doing. And I need you to watch the show. I'll give you more information on that. But I asked him, I said, so what kept you here? You're doing something that you've never done before. What's the commitment? And he said, this country just has so much to offer.
Mhm.
And it really does. You don't necessarily have to. And, you can leave the country and explore and get your education or whatever it is. But to come into this little piece of heaven on earth, man, I don't want to dare wake up every morning complaining,
Mhm.
and just I just want to stay committed to what I'm doing. So this show is dedicated for that, and the people that I get to engage with are
I've
my
heard you,
why.
and I've heard you say that as well. I mean, you're
Yeah,
talking about someone who said it, but
yeah,
I've heard you say, this island, St. Lucia,
yeah.
we may sit back and just think, huh,
Uh huh.
there's nothing happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you come in and you see so much more than
Oh, come
those of us who are
on.
already here.
Yeah.
This is why sometimes, people who leave the island
Hmm.
for a couple of years and
Yeah.
they return, they realize that there's so much more than
Yep.
just,
Yep.
what they thought. So
Absolutely.
it's really good to hear that sometimes, and
Yeah.
it kind of gives you that confidence that, yeah, you can get something
You
done.
better believe it,
Yeah,
man.
or get
Absolutely.
something, can get committed to something. I just wanted to put the word in there
I
somewhere.
love that. Would you believe that that's our show? That gummit? It looks
Yeah.
like we just got started, man. What? But again, if you're willing to become the work, and sometimes becoming the work can be a very difficult thing. Sometimes looking at your circumstances, honey, I understand it. I do. I literally get it. But you're dedicating your life to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. You're staying committed. You're beginning to believe that, yes, I bring value not only to myself and to the people that I get to serve, but I bring value to Him. It gives you the wherewithal to stay committed to what you are doing. All right. And if you would like to stay engaged after the show, then absolutely we can. We'll take your comments and questions at www.drtongieshow.com. Just write us a couple of things that you'd like to have discussed, and if there's something you'd like to have discussed on the show, on a show that we haven't done just yet, then we'll be able to engage in that as well. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, man. That's our show. Thank you so very much for showing up. Thank you for showing up for you. Thank you for not giving up on yourself. Thank you, man. If you had to cry, and I do it sometimes, and wipe my eyes and still get back up and do what I'm supposed to do. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for being there for your children, for your mom, your dad, yourself, and others. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I do not have to know your name to do that. It's a gift. All right. Until next time, the Lord say the same and the creek don't rise. We're going to do this thing called the Dr. Tongie Show again on Friday. All right. Until then, thank you, Gentle Giant, for being a
Thank you
part
for
of this
having me once
journey
again.
with me, man. All right.
Yes.
That's our show.
Bye.
Bye.